Right now, Nick Solak has a 958 OPS, which is best in the major leagues for second baseman. Jazz Chisholm Hall for the Marlins is second with 926. But right now, he has 7 home runs. There is Ryan McCannon, if I'm saying his last name right, McMahon, M-A-H-O-N. How would you pronounce that, Kevin? You're great at pronouncing things.
I'd say McMahon, maybe.
McMahon?
There's not a second M in there, is it?
M-C-M-A-H-O-N.
Oh, yeah, that's McMahon.
McMahon. Yeah, like Jim McMahon.
Ryan McMahon. God, I pronounced that bad. Has 8 home runs this year. So he does have more home runs than Nick Solak. But if you look at everything else, I guess RBIs, he has 1 more. But if you look at hits, Nick Solak has 27 hits. Looking down the list, nobody has more hits at second base than him. Doubles, he has 2 doubles. There's Ty France in Seattle, so he's having a very good year. He has a better batting average. He's the only guy with a batting average at 314. But if you just take everything, and pretty much OPS is your main number, but if you look at everything, Nick Solak is top 3 in almost every category offensively at second base, and number 1 in kind of what we consider the most important stat now, and that is on base plus slugging. He is number 1 in Major League Baseball.
Can't play defense, though.
He struggles defensively. I will give that to you, Corey. He needs to improve that.
I didn't. So I was being really facetious there, Mike, because that was the word, right? Was look, the dude can hit, but where's he going to play defensively?
I know that there's stats that say he's playing average or a little bit above average at second base. I'm not a fan of the way they're trying to measure defense. I really feel like still at this point, it is a 100%. You have to watch it and see it and know it. And I know they're trying to come up with stats, but I don't want to pick. So just to give you an idea, 3-4 years ago, I have to kind of watch this because I think he's a great, tremendous person, and he is back in the Rangers organization. It's like, Delino DeShields is an above average center fielder. And I'm like, no, he's like, maybe he's gotten to average, but if you just watch Major League Baseball and you're watching all the outfielders play center field, and especially with his arm strength, I was just like, I would not put him in the top 5 or top 10 center fielders in the game. And yet, you would hear, but these kind of analytics stuff, the way to measure outfield defense, he is. And I'm just like, man, I'm not going to refute those numbers. They are what they are. But if you ask scouts right now, like if a scout is at the game and he's having to scout right now Nick Solak, I think they'd say he has a room to improve on his defense. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I am saying, defensively, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. Offensively, there's not a lot of room because he's the best offensive second baseman in baseball, which brings me to the Rangers' record right now. It's not the best, but it's better than we thought. Would you guys say it's better than, right? Better than what we thought. I just think about this. Without Nick Solak, and he had a tough first 2 series of the year against Kansas City and against Toronto. He got off to a slow start, so his slow start, and he's still the best hitter at second base in baseball, and we're coming to a close on the first month of the year. Rougned Odor, if they wouldn't have, I think, made a tough decision, because you do owe him $30 million approximately. You ate $30 million to just say, we have to move on and give Nick Solak a chance. And it has been an A-plus decision.
I think you're right about it being a tough decision, because remember, we didn't even really hear those true rumblings of that going to happen until the weekend before it did, right? Like everyone was just like, yeah, he'll be on the team somehow, some way. Then all of a sudden the weekend before, you're like, hey, by the way, that might not be the case. So I definitely think it was a tough decision, and it seems like the right decision, to your point, by a million miles.
Well, here's the numbers that Rugi's putting up, because he does not even get on the board for qualifying second baseman yet, because he's only played in 14 games. But he's doing everything that we're used to him doing. He's batting 170 in his 47 at-bats. He does have 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. And we have to remember last year for Rougned, he had 10 home runs and 30 RBIs, which isn't
in 60 games, yeah.
That led the Rangers in home runs and RBIs at the end of the year. So you were taking off the team, the guy that led the team in home runs and RBIs. But he batted 167 last year. He was a negative .8 WAR last year. Right now, his on base plus slugging is 612. Last year was 623.
Oh.
Just to give you an idea, right now Nick Solak is over 300 points higher in that number. And you want to be, if you're at 800, you're pretty solid, especially at second base. And so right now, Nick Solak getting closer to 1,000 than the kind of average would be about 800 from that position. And Rougned Odor, he has not had an OPS of 800 since, oh my God,
2016.
ever.
Oh,
Ever.
that's the okie doke.
798 was his best ever in 2016. His WAR right now is 0.1, so he's raised it from a negative to be 0.1. But I'm still going to go with Rougned Odor. Is that when Luke Voit gets healthy, and I don't know the exact date he's going to get healthy, and they have to move DJ LeMahieu back to second base, and Voit takes first base. I do think they're going to designate Rougie for assignment with the Yankees. But just think where the Rangers would be if they wouldn't have made that decision. And instead of your second baseman being the best offensive second baseman in baseball, you'd have arguably, there's arguments because of the home runs and RBIs that he puts up, that you'd have arguably the worst offensive second. Like you went from the worst offensive second baseman to the best offensive second baseman right now.